Good day, viewers. Still on the subject of science, SIG and S, we will consider the first seven in the Quran and what they mean or their implications. What are they? In fact, uh, all surahs in the Quran begin with Bismillahi ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful. Except one surah. And what is it? That surah is Surah 9, Surah Tawbah. Tawbah meaning immunity. Why? Theologians don't seem to know. However, they've given an explanation, a possible explanation, that the Prophet of Islam intended that surah to be part of Surah 8, which begins with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Later on, however, it was detached from Surah 8, and therefore Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is missing there. Uh, so that is it. Only Surah 9 doesn't have Bismillah. All the rest have Bismillah. Why Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? It is recognizing the importance of God. Whatever one wants to do must start with God, with the consideration of God. So no wonder you see a believer in the Quran wants to do anything, to bath, to enter a car, to wear a dress. He starts with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful. And that is the sign there. You will see also that science is also word. I think we've done it before. Sign, word at the same time. Or if you like, word also being sound. So you can see that sign, sound, material go together. They are the same. One can mean the other. It's a triangle. Sign, sound, matter. Because when God decrees something in the Quran, we've done it before, He says, be, and it is. Be is a word or sound, if you like. It is, whatever is going to be, is material. It may be human, like in the case of Adam, or any other thing God wishes, angel, or anything other thing that God wishes. That is. So sign and material are here the same. And both of them are sign, or each of them is a sign. So sign, sound, matter are the same. So Bismillah in the name of God. What about Ar-Rahmani Ar-Rahim, the gracious, the merciful? Yes, everything about human is about grace. God didn't just create man. He created alongside water. And that is by the grace. He knows when man comes, man will need water. Pardon me for switching from one English to the other American English. Many people like American English anyway. So, when he created man, he created water alongside. He created fire, a lot of things to go that man will need in future. That is the grace. It is by his grace that everything in the human being or all animals are fashioned in a particular way, in a special way, such that there won't be inconvenience to man. God Almighty, for instance, could have created man And he could have created the stomach separately. So each man walking will handle the stomach. The stomach would be outside the body for everybody to be seen. He could have created man with eyes on all sides of the head, but it's not good for man. Man should not see everything. You are with a close friend or somebody you consider as a close friend. You talk with him and you turn your head, and you know the gestures you will make later, you might not like. The signs you make later, you might not like. So there wouldn't be love in the world eyes if there were eyes all around the head of a man. These are examples. You can make other examples yourself. So that is by grace. Mercy. Yes, he's merciful because there are lots of things we do that God could have punished us, but he just forgives. It's there in the Quran. Little mistakes. You know, people blaspheme. God could have punished anybody who blasphemes instantly. He only does it when it's extreme. So that is the mercy in it. So the gracious Bismillah Rahman Rahim are in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Then he now comes to tell us to praise him. He's worthy of praise because of these things, isn't he? He's worthy of praise. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. The gracious, the merciful, again, he emphasizes it. Malik Yawmuddin, king of the day of judgment. Here he's telling us that there is judgment. Malik Yawmuddin, Iyaka na'budu. Therefore, he alone will we worship. Nobody. Not Muhammad, not Jesus, not Moses, not Adam, not Idris, not Noah, not Ismail. None of them. He alone. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'inu. And he alone will we seek help from. You are seeking help. Muhammad cannot help. It's there in the Quran. Jesus cannot help. Adam cannot help. Except he, God, can help. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'inu. And you alone will we seek help from. Ihdina Siratul Mustaqim. God, put us in the right path. What is right path? We can easily stray. The right path is recognizing that it is He, God, that we must worship. We don't deviate from normal life. Ihdina Siratul Mustaqim. So in the straight path, lead us in the straight path. Siratal Ladina An'amta Alayhim. The path of those whose favor, who are gaining from God's favor. The path of those whose favor is won. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. And not the path of those whose are incurring the wrath of God. And the wrath of God is dangerous. Very dangerous. We have to avoid it. When he gets angry, when God gets angry, he can punish individual, two, three, family, community, the whole world. Look at the tornadoes, earthquakes, but nobody can help. So the wrath of God should be feared. So these are the 7 verses in the Quran that God expects us to recite, and Muslims recite it. Christians invoke the name of God. They have their own way of invoking the name of God, especially Roman Catholics. Before they start anything, they start with the sign of the cross. And some just say, call the name of God. So you see, God expects us to say it because He is giving this to us in the Quran. You have a child, you want to teach him something, like you want to teach him ABC in English for Those of us who don't speak English, you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. The child might not be able to say it well. He will start A, B, C, D, A, F, D, I, A. But he's learning it slowly. He's able to learn it. So God expects us to recite these things. So that is sign. So you can see that sign, uh, sound, material are the same thing expressed in different ways. Be and it is. Sound to material, and that sound material is also a sign. Sign. So viewers, let's take note of that. We will consider other verses, God willing, later. In the last video, I mentioned a topic which I couldn't read because time might be against us. I think it's an important thing that we need to consider because that is also a good sign. And what is it? I will repeat it here. They have been married for 34 years, but they have never had sex. A good sign there, though uh, some servants of God may not understand it. You and I may not understand it, but God alone understands it. But it shows the commitment of man to whatever he intends to do. Let me read it now, today. Uh, it reads, a loving couple married for 34 years are still virgins. Can you imagine? They are married for 34 years, but they are still virgins. Somebody will say, what's the meaning of the marriage? Marriage is supposed to be consumed so that the world will multiply. He, God knows, once a while there is an aberration somewhere, and maybe for the good reason. And they are, like I said, their pictures are here. Um, Margaret Austin, 57, and husband Bill, 65, have never even slept naked. Have never even slept naked together. And Margaret, who suffers an extreme sex phobia, has had to accept the heartbreak of never having children. That's a sign for men. Every time the couple try to make love, Margaret hears her mother's voice talking, telling her it's disgusting. So she sees sex as disgusting. In fact, it is, except when it is blessed in a marriage. That's why it has to be blessed in a marriage. So he sees, she hears the mother telling her it's disgusting. On their wedding night, poor Margaret was left shaking with fear when Bill stripped for bed. In other words, when he saw the man's body, fear gripped her. She admitted, I had never seen a man's privates before, and I didn't like what I saw. So, other women will fill with excitement at seeing the body, but she doesn't. So, Bill, who had never had a girlfriend until he met Margaret, said, Margaret cowered away from me. I thought she was just frightened because it was her first time, so I decided not to pursue my intention. Margaret was 32 when she met Bill in 1966. They could still be alive if they are not people in Britain may know them, especially the elderly ones. Until then, her mom, Ethel Baylis, hadn't allowed her to mix with boys. She said, my mother told me that being intimate with a man was dirty and wrong. So that you see, the thing started right from childhood. I was so innocent, I had no idea what sex was. I'd never even seen a picture of a naked man. The couple from Tambra, Wales, was, I'm not a British man, was Worcestershire, was, Worcestershire, married in September 1988. The wedding night was the first of many, of many failed attempts to have sex. Um, Bill said, we tried again a few days later, but Margaret was not happy. It was hard to hold back. It was hard to hold back because she was so attractive. She was tall and slim with pretty brown hair. So he saw the hair in every part of the body. That's this description. At the end of the day, I wanted to be with her. So I made the sacrifice. What sacrifice? The sacrifice of not sleeping with her. The couple were desperate to start a family and tried to have sex every few months over the next 10 years. So every few months they tried for about 10 years, but it didn't work. Margaret said, my older brother and sister had children, and I loved looking after them, but longed for my own. Some nights, some nights I would let Bill caress my shoulders and breast, but as soon as his hands started to wander, I would freeze. To wander where? To the all around the body and get to the private part. She would freeze. I would freeze. I would hear my mother's voice telling me that what I was doing was dirty. Sometimes I sit and think that if the Queen and Margaret Thatcher can do it, why can't I? I feel I had I feel bad for Bill because he has never enjoyed the pleasure of sex. It's pathetic. I'm just glad he's I'm just glad he stuck by me. He is great. Yes, he is great. He is great. But you, Margaret, are wonderful. So that's the story. So like I'm saying, those in that city, that those in that place, Worcestershire will know them, whether they are alive or not. And what happened later, because later on they could change. So that is it for listening. I thought it was so important we should read it. And that is a big sign. Viewers, it is left for you to see the importance of it, what it means to us. They didn't, it was not deliberate. Um, let's see this paper too and see what is inside. And this is a paper of Monday, August 5 to August 11, 2002. Man pours acid on lava. I don't know whether you consider it news or not, because men even kill women, and women kill men. Pardon me. So, citizens of the kingdom, they say. This is also interesting. Why can't Christians unite? That's the question. Why can't Christians unite? It's like saying, why can't Muslims unite? We have different sects. But one thing about Muslim Islam is that at least Muslims or believers in the Quran use the same Quran. Whoever you are, Ahmadi, Tijani, Sunni, whatnot, we all use the same Quran. Whereas Christians use different versions of the Quran. So this question, like I'm saying, I am not saying it. It's been there. Where is it? Yes, let me see. Why can't Christians unite? Well, the Quran tells us He, God Himself, divided them. He put enmity between Christians, and that enmity will never, ever stop until the end of the world. The Romans who started Christianity were challenged by the Protestants, and so they are separate from Protestants. And Protestants themselves have various sects. Some say God is Jesus is God. Some say not. She's not. So that is a big question. Why can't Christians unite? Sorry, the answer is mine from the Quran. The rest are not. Another story about pastor. Pastors beat up widow. Like I'm saying, not all of them are pastors. Some of them are just spoiling the name of Christianity or good Christians, good Christian worshippers. So some of them are just faking as pastors, but they are not supposed to be pastors. Well, another one here. Pastor caught raping cripple. I would say a coward called pastor. Why don't you rape somebody who can kick, hmm? Or who can fight back? Why cripple? Hmm? That's a coward pastor. Houseboy 17 defiles girl 4. Woman inflicts deep cut on rival. Man 52 rapes 6-year-old girl. Proper appeals for camp, not too important for our purpose. Well, another bad thing here. Bad sorry here. I had a fling with my best pal's fiancée. That's a man talking. I had a fling with my best pal's fiancée. There are people like that, like I say, nothing is new. It's always been there. The Quran tells us our grandfather Abraham had to tell a lie to a chief, an elder, because that chief was noted for sleeping with people's wives. If he says, this is Alex's wife, he must, you know, sleep with her to sleep with her to see how it is. It's only people's wives. So he can be happy in the head. I've had her too when the man doesn't know. So there are people like that. I have a friend with my best pal's fiance. Okay, maybe another important thing here for married people, I would say, what is it? It reads, pain during intercourse. Then under it says, change your style. Well, I don't know if it helps. I don't know. Hmm? I don't know if it helps. I have no partner to even try it or to prove it. Hmm? So, change your style. Another question here concerning sex. Do men have G spots? Hmm? Like I say, some of the language here may not be all, they may not all be good, but at least it will help some people. Why do my labia swell after intercourse? It will let women know that no, it's not peculiar to them. It's there. It's always been there. Why don't my nipples get hard when I am aroused? So also, if it happens to you, don't be surprised. So viewers, let's end here till we meet again. I hope now you will understand why verses in the Quran are referred to as signs. Consider that, reflect on it when we are alone, we are sleeping. It follows that the verses in the Bible are also signs, in that the Bible or believers in the Quran will say the original Bible was also written by God. No book of God comes down on its own. God has recognized in the Quran that it was He who sent all the revelations to us. He sent the Injil, Gospel, that's Bible, the Torah, that's Moses, the message sent to Moses, alayhi salam, and then the Quran, the message sent to the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Peace and blessing be on him. They are all the revelations of God, and therefore, what applies to one applies to all. So there are also signs in the verses in the Bible could also be referred to as signs. Thank you. We shall continue. Ila liqa'i. May God bless you for listening to me. Please subscribe, like, and share so other people may have it. That is guidance. Hmm? Animals are not guided. In Arabic, we have akli and ghair akli. That creatures with intellect and creatures without intellect. For creatures with intellect, they need guidance. God guides us. Then we then can guide the creatures without intellect, like sheep. They depend on us and all the animals. Thank you. Bye bye.